So, welcome everybody to, let's see if I have it this way. Nope, I'm going to put it this way. Okay. So, welcome everybody to Linda Tellington-Jones's book club. And we just want to tell you a little bit about the background, how this even came up. Welcome, Linda, for coming on. Thank you, everybody. We have a lot of people that are attending from Europe, and so those people we're going to be sending the link to, and there's a lot of people that wanted to attend but can't, so the link will be going on. It's a large group, so this is beautifully cozy. But you know, this whole process started with every time anyone studies with Linda, you always hear Linda tell these great pieces from a book. She's got this memory like no one I've ever met. She can quote the page, she quotes the book, she quotes everything in it that's apropos for that moment. And it's so amazing, her knowledge. And I begged her, we got to do a book club. So at first I said, let's just share the books. And then it was like, well, let's do an online book club. So here we are. This is the second book. And this book is Ho'onopono. Ho'onopono. Linda, pronounce it.
Ho'onopono.
And I'm going to mute everybody for a moment so that we don't get the thing. And what we'll do is, if you want to talk, raise a hand, and then we can have conversation. If I unmute everybody and one person talks, it tends to make an echo. So let me go here. So I'm going to...
How do we raise our hand?
Well, who asked that?
Sally.
Okay. Sal, like this. I know there's a place.
Visually, okay.
Yeah, there's a place in here for raising the hand, but you know, at the moment I can't find it. So, but there is a piece in here, but I'll be so transfixed on what Linda's talking about in this incredible book. Did you all get this?
Yes.
Yes.
Linda, it's a winner. It's a winner. So, Linda, are you okay with if I mute everybody so you can start talking, or do you want to have everybody introduce themselves? What would you like?
I'd like everyone to just say who they are and where they're from, but we're getting a lot of feedback here.
Yeah, we are. So let me go to manage participants. Hold on. Okay, I'm going to mute everybody. Am I muted? Oops, wait, let me go to Linda. One sec. Okay, Linda, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay.
Can you, just a second, we're getting the feedback here. You've got to go up here and shut that down. Yeah. Sorry. We've got it. That won't work. I've got to come over here, up here. Sorry. We had a bit of a problem with Pam, and I had to switch computers at the last second. So, one possibility, do you have everybody's name? How do you want to do that?
I see everybody on here, and I think if we start with, let's see, I have to go by how this is. Who's 312-513-9111? Anybody?
Apparently no one.
Okay, so I'm going to start with, is Amy Tompkins here? Is that, okay, great. So, hold on, I'm going to unmute Amy. Let's see what happens if we unmute one person at a time.
Okay, testing.
Hello.
Hello.
So, introduce yourself.
I'm Amy Tompkins. I graduated from Elizabeth Behringer's 2013 San Diego 2 training. I'm a Reiki master teacher, lifelong horsewoman. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, welcome, Amy. Thank you for coming. How did you hear about this?
Actually, you know what, maybe I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think what we really need to do is just kind of do a really little short intro so we can kind of get our group tonight.
You bet. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Amy.
Yep.
Okay, hold on. Ava,
Yes.
welcome.
Hello.
Good enough,
Can you hear me?
Linda?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yes, Ava from Arizona, T-Touch Equine Practitioner 1. And I'm so excited to be here because I always love to hear Linda speak.
Wonderful.
So thank you for organizing this.
Welcome. Thank you. And Deirdre Chitwood.
Hello, I'm speaking from Florida, even though I have an English accent. I'm a companion animal T-Touch practitioner 1, and I always find Linda very interesting, so I'm delighted to be on the call. Thank you very much for organising.
Welcome.
See you tomorrow.
And Helen Pate. Helen, are you there? Okay, well, I'll mute her and maybe she'll come back on. Jewel Duke, welcome.
Hello, this is Jewel from North Carolina. I'm a companion animal prac, and Linda will be with us starting Saturday for a training. Yay!
Awesome, you're so lucky.
Yes, it's been a few years, so looking very forward to it.
Okay, thanks. And Lisa, how are you from Montana? You're on.
I'm from Oregon, actually. Can you hear me?
Okay, we
Can
can.
you hear me?
Welcome, yes.
Yeah. So I'm on a ranch in rural, remote Oregon. I'm very happy to be here.
Fantastic. Okay, and that's Linda. Mary Kluber, where are you?
I'm in Seattle.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
perfectly.
I'm in Seattle. I finished with Jeff's Seattle Sisters program in 2002 or 3, I think. And I'm currently a PT assistant and a fellow in Christ.
Okay, Mary, it's a little hard. You're breaking up. So I'm going to mute you. Can you hear us, Mary? We'll come back. And there's Pam Wanavere. Where are you? Hello, welcome. Wait a minute. Oops, did I?
In case you can hear me.
Ah, there you go. Okay, because you look muted. So are you talking? Wait a minute. You need to unmute yourself.
Okay. Ooh, that's because we have 2 computers.
Okay, welcome.
Thank
How
you.
awesome.
I'm muting.
Okay. And then Renee Boyer.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me? Hi. I'm in Omaha, Nebraska, and I am a level 2 Reiki, and I've got some DVDs and books from Linda and very interested in T-Touch and wanted to know more. So that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Fantastic. Welcome. Hi, Sally. Sally Morgan.
Hi, I'm in Massachusetts, and I've been working with Linda since 1982. And I work with horses and companion animals and humans.
Awesome. Thank you. Oh, look at this. We have Sandra's iPad.
Hi.
Hi, oh, there you are. Okay, we got your eye.
Yeah, there.
Okay, welcome.
Thanks. Hi, Linda. Hi, everybody. Magic says hi.
Where are you calling from?
Baltimore, Maryland.
Oh, awesome. Okay, thank you. So, Linda, I've got you on. Are you ready to start? Okay, wait. Apparently you're muted. One sec. Mm-hmm. Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Got a feedback there. Sorry.
So I wonder, Pam, I'm wondering, Pam, if if Lynn, okay, well, let's try.
This is not going to work, folks.
I wonder, what would happen?
Never mind. We shut it down.
There you go. Okay, good.
Unfortunately.
Okay.
Okay. So, actually, what we want to do, as we did the last time, is just bring us all together and see if I can get this so I can do it. I want to begin with what we call a heart hug for those of you who don't know us. And it's actually just to bring us present into this present moment. We put one hand over the other on our heart chakra. And we imagine the face of a clock, with 6 o'clock towards the ground, 9, 12, and 3. And with one hand lightly cupped over the other. Take a nice deep breath. Start at 6 o'clock and move gently, very gently. Just move the skin lightly around from 6, 9, 12, 3, 6, 9. And take a deep breath. And count 3 blessings in your life, just quietly to yourself. And as you're doing that, try once in the other direction. See how that works for you. 1 1/4 circles in the opposite direction. And pick the direction that is the best 1 1/4, starting at 6. Take a nice deep breath. And one more. And really send love out into this beautiful planet and into this universe. And deep, deep appreciation. And think of the person or the animal or the place that really makes you feel the fullest in your heart. So, Elinor Silverstein, I want to just really thank you, because one of the big blessings in my life is you and all of the people that we have been reaching in various ways through our work with Tellington T-Touch. We decided that we would start working with these books, just kind of a reason to bring us together and to share some of the blessings that we are given by so many visionaries that are really reaching us through my iPad, because I mostly read on my iPad now because I can carry a lot of books with me. And we chose this book because forgiveness for me is one of the ways that I know that I can make a difference on this planet. And I'm going to start, because I live in Hawaii, so we talk story in Hawaii, and I'm going to start by telling you how I became acquainted with this concept of Ho'oponopono. Although I lived in Hawaii, I had not been I hadn't experienced and it is a very shocking documentary and book that she's written. And I was so struck by it. At the moment, I thought, wait a minute, I don't think there's anything I can personally do about this. But
Linda, can you say the name of the book one more time? Because I think that my laptop actually had some interference. I want to make sure everyone gets to hear it.
Right. It was The Shock Doctrine by Naomi Klein, who is a Canadian activist. And I don't want to go into the shock doctrine at this point, but it shocked me so much to actually be aware of what's going on the planet. And my interest is making a difference in a way that I can. And I thought, as big as this issue is, how can I possibly make a difference? And I got really depressed, which is very unusual if you know me. And I said to my husband, who was there watching this documentary with me, you know what, I can't deal with this. I really don't know what to do. I mean, I went through all kinds of emotional aggression toward the person who had started this whole concept. And then I started thinking, whoa, I mean, wait a minute, that's not going to make a difference. I need help. And I thought, wait, I just prayed for a moment, I need help. And I looked over to my left, and on my side table was the book Zero Limits by Joe Vitale, which is another book on Ho'oponopono. And I went over, picked up the book, opened it, and actually opened it to the page which said this basic prayer ritual. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. And I just kept saying this over and over and over and over until and with a lot of heart hugs to bring me back into heart coherence. And then I started looking into the Ho'oponopono, and forgiveness has been a concept that's another long story that sometime actually I'm going to tell to some of our people, because I think it's something that I can do to make a difference on the planet, certainly in my life. So I want to start with this book because Karen Freiling said, you've got to read this Ho'oponopono by Ulrich Dupre. And it's just this lovely little book. And so I went out and got this book, and now I have it on my iPad. So like I did last week, I want to read some of this, just some of the parts that pop into my mind. I want to tell you that about 3 months ago, I read the first 3 chapters every night for several weeks, because there's something about it that is really basic about how I can make a difference. Yeah? So I'm just going to start, and I want to begin by reminding us about the author. Ulrich Emil Dupre, born 1962, is a spiritual seeker and teacher, author, and seminar leader. He has studied Christian and Far Eastern philosophies and has lived, among other places, in a Hindu monastery. If you ask him about his profession, he will perhaps answer that he is a builder of bridges who has had a concrete encounter with an angel. Like many of us, right? Further information available at ho'oponoponosecret.com. So I'm going to just pick some of the underlines that that really always touch me. So in the foreword, this book is about forgiveness. What is more appropriate than to begin with a dramatic story of sacrifice? It was shortly before Christmas, 1970, and I was 8 years old when my father died on the carpet in front of me. Why? Was it fair? Did it have any meaning? In my search for answers to these questions, I got to know my first spiritual teacher, the theologian and psychoanalyst, Dr. and Professor Johann Schaffenberg. I have to thank him and his wife, amongst others, for my first glimpses into the world of Pythagoreans and that of Rudolf Steiner. When I read that, I thought, no wonder I was attracted to this. Since then, I have lived as an independent, a traveler, a quiet researcher, seminar leader, and also a monk. So I'm just going to kind of jump around a little bit because I'm sure that most of you have read this. So I'm going to see what, reaches out to me, and I'm just going to tap my screen because I love my iPad because I can underline. And what I find is that this is what I do in books, but in the books, I can't underline. And so what I do every time I reread this, I just wipe it all out and then I underline again. So let's see what we got this time. The roots of Ho'oponopono reach far back into the past, thousands of years, perhaps even to the time of Atlantis, Lemuria, and the high Vedic culture. As those of you who know me, you can be sure when I read that it came from Atlantis and perhaps Lemuria, really interesting to us, no? Ho'oponopono belongs to a system of ancient Hawaiian teachings called the Huna, Hu, meaning knowledge, and Na represents wisdom. And the guardians of this ancient teaching are called kahunas, Huna experts. So I'm going to, again, I'm just going to kind of jump around. Hawaiians call their group of islands the land of aloha. And for those of you who don't know me, I live on the Big Island with my husband, Roland Klager. It's the land of love. Aloha contains the essence of the Huna teaching of knowledge and wisdom. And it forms the basis of Ho'oponopono. Aloha means, I see the divine in you, and I see the divine in myself. This carries the understanding that you and I, your neighbor and the president in the White House, all of us travel a common road, and that there's only one power in the universe, namely the energy of unconditional love, mana aloha in Hawaiian. Aloha has only a single commandment, never to harm, always to help. And thus, to love your neighbor as yourself. Mana aloha is the essence of God's energy, the energy that penetrates and informs everything. The Tibetan monks, I'm jumping down a little bit here, whom I also encountered, called it compassion. By this, they did not merely have in mind an emotion, but a directly experienced energy that influences the environment and creates a new reality. Ho'oponopono is this compassion in action, and therefore it is the theme of this book. Elinor, anything that I read at this, if you, like something just like jumps into you, I want you to
I'm glad that you said that because it did. And I was like, oh, I'm going to be polite. That's so unusual for me. I would love to hear when we get to study with you in person and you make the quote from the book, any book, and then you tie it into the moment of who we are and why we use it and how we use it in T-Touch. And connecting with each other. That statement that you just read was so important that I would love to hear your iteration of it.
So which statement?
What did you just read?
About compassion, the theme of the book.
Yeah. And that is so much in what we do when we walk into a space to greet another person or animal.
It's really interesting because today, speaking of another animal, we've got people on here who love horses and dogs. And this morning on Facebook, there was a comment from Victoria Stilwell that in her school this month, they're going to have the theme is no cue. And the reason I bring this up, it might sound pretty funny because one of the ways that we work with our dogs and our horses is by finding when they do something that we don't like, rather than punish it. What we do is come from a place of understanding. And actually, my brilliant sister, Robin Hood, as she says frequently, which I really love, is understanding does not mean that we, what's the word? Understand. Now I forget. Oh my gosh, I can't even think of the exact quote. But understanding does not mean that we accept the way it is. We find a way with compassion and coming from a place of heart that we lead the animal in the direction that we really would like them to be able to go, if they can do that. And for me, compassion is a big part of that.
And that's part of empathy, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. And it comes in a little later, which I made little notes about the last time here, because actually the word that is used here is the word sympathy. I think you and I talked about that, right? Mm-hmm. I'm sure some of the others of you noticed that, because sympathy is not actually, in my experience, not useful at all, because it means that we're seeing that being, that person, animal, whatever it is, as like a victim.
And pitiful.
Actually, and pitiful, exactly. And that's not what Ho'opono is about, Ho'oponopono. So I'm going to jump around. One of the big underlines next is that Ho'oponopono is a simple way of arriving at unity, inner peace, and returning to harmony. It expresses a deep need to live once again in harmony with oneself and with humanity, nature, and God. It's quite simply represents to make rightly right. That's what it actually means. And to join oneself again with one's higher self and the source of all being. And that is one of the things that I think happens when we begin to find this place of experiencing, I love you, please forgive me, I'm sorry, thank you. I'm going to tap this. The paradigm change in Ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono is a spiritual soul method of purification that cleanses us from fears and worries, destructive relationship patterns, and any religious dogmas and paradigms that oppose our personal and spiritual development. Mm-hmm. It cleans out the blockages in our thoughts and cell structure, for our thoughts are made manifest in our body. This is the paradigm change. And of course, it's what I just really appreciate is the new concept in quantum science and Heart Math Institute and the studies that they've done showing that what we think about ourselves, the thoughts that we carry about ourselves actually affect the cell function. It affects our immune system. And when I first read that in one of the Heart Math research papers, I don't know, at least 10 years ago, I thought, okay, because I used to constantly say, Linda, that was really stupid. Do you do that, Elinor? Do you ever do that?
Just today.
The rest of you, wave your hands if you do, because we can't. I certainly tended to do that. And when I read the paper that showed that when we say any word to ourselves that is derogatory, that we actually we inhibit, we reduce the cell function. And when I read that, I really rarely ever say that to myself. I am able to catch that. And that's part of this business of forgiving ourselves. Let's see what this comes up with. This is one of the parts that a lot of people underlined is the key to being able to receive lies in the ability to let something go. in the faith that we will not suffer any harm or loss thereby. The forgiveness ritual of Ho'opono is love in action. You forgive yourself and others for having inflicted any sort of help or for having failed to help when needed.
Linda, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So it gets me thinking about when we do the T-touch, my feeling when you do the sponge touch in there like that and then draw away, it does something in that healing of oneself. I remember the very first time you ever showed it to me, and it's like I can do it for myself. And it does something in the cells of healing.
Exciting question, because as you may remember, some of you might remember, in 1978, I was working on a really difficult, challenging horse. I had a lot of pain in the body. And I was just doing something, I don't know what I was doing, and somebody from a big crowd of people said, Linda, what are you doing? And I said, I am releasing fear at the cellular level. This is 1978, before AIDS. Nobody talked about cells. It was not a subject that came up. And when I said that, it really shocked me because there were about 650 people. I was giving a demo for a fundraiser for the U.S. dressage team at that point. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to be ruined because what does that mean? Releasing fear at the cellular level. People are going to think I am crazy. And fortunately, I don't think anybody realized what I said. But that night, I went home and I called Dr. Alice DeGroot, who was at the time, she was a veterinary editor for Equus magazine and a friend of mine. And I said, do you think it's possible that cells could hold fear? And she said, Linda, it's only in the Western world that is not common knowledge. In the world of Eastern medicine, it's common knowledge. Now, it was not until 1991 when Dr. Candace Pert published her book, Molecules of Emotion, that there was validation of that. But in her book, what she wrote about and what her study showed is that our bodies hold emotion. Our body holds the emotion. It's not in our head. We just, through these chemical connections, we think it's in our head. And that's why when we do the T-touch and we do a little sponge touch, which we don't often do with the animals, for me, it's about going deeper cell to cell, and being able to gently release that. And we do release pain and fear at the cellular level. We know from our work that that's what's happening.
She sat right in that chair. Candace
sat right here. Oh, Pam's just saying right in the chair in her kitchen. Candace Pert brought her dog to Pam to work on. Wow. Isn't that incredible? Oh, to have her here with us in this way, in spirit. So, I mean, that was, for me, that thing of this concept that we actually ourselves can do this and release our own fear is a really big thing, And along with that fear is actually, for me, it's about the forgiveness. And that's why I think this book is so important. If something disturbs us and we feel disharmony within ourselves, maybe recognize a problem or a conflict, we can always make a ho'oponopono. 1, we ask to reach a place of recognition, courage, power, intelligence, and peace. 2, we describe the problem and then search our heart for our share in it. this, and that's a big one, isn't it? I mean, because every time I've given this, which I really tend to share Ho'oponopono in my classes, this whole concept, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. It's really a challenge to be able to forgive ourselves, to think that we have any part in it. And that's what I love about this Ulrich Dupre and the way he approaches this concept, that, wait a minute, we describe the problem and then search our heart for our share in it. This share may, for example, be a judgment we've made, or a specific action, or a memory that requires healing. 3, we forgive unconditionally and speak the 4 magic sentences. I am sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. And then 4, we give thanks, express trust, and let go. This simple and elegant method will not only ensure the resolution of personal problems and challenges, but also resolves conflicts within a community or a group. Thus, a Ho'oponopono will demonstrate its effectiveness in all the realms of partnership and family, profession, health, and finance. We know today that in Hawaii, the forgiveness ritual forms the preparation for the healing of physical illness. So it's used in various ways. When the soul is healed, the body follows. So I would like, Elinor, at this point, just to ask you if you have, as you read this book, any thing that really touched you.
Yeah, you know, I think, is it the next part after that where they talk about the doctor?
Yes, Dr. Hugh, Haleakala, Hugh Len, yes.
Where he went to the prison?
Right.
Wow. Wow. And he kept, every time he had a he read the story of somebody, and he would go back and he would go over this in his own heart. You know, and again, I don't mean to keep referring back to, well, sure, T-touch tends to be a circle. And when you go into the heart, and then you get the answer. And it's like, so when they go through the steps in here, to me, whether you're doing it on yourself, another being, or in a group, or with, you know, in a group or in a society, we're going through these steps in a circular motion. We go into our heart, and then we come back, and there is some kind of healing.
A release.
A release.
A release. And it's really interesting because the doctor, the story of Dr. Hugh Len was so unusual, and that's the part that gets everybody's attention, because he was asked to take over, and this was a psychiatric hospital, prison hospital, and there were really people who had been given up. They were in straitjackets. It was a really bad situation. And the thing that was so unusual about this is the fact that he never talked to one of them as a psychiatrist. He simply, that was his agreement to come in there to take this over, that he would simply sit with their files in the office. And what he did this like for over a year, and would go over and over each of these cases with this basic act of forgiveness, looking for himself to see what part he played in it. And I think that's one of the things that it took me a while to get it, because when I first read the Zero Limits book, I didn't get that. It's taken me a while to get this concept. Wait a minute. Of course, I am a part of all that is, of all beings. I mean, I got that from the Course in Miracles many years ago. And so from that point of view, it's really clear. If I have a conflict in any situation that I look at, I play a part because I, as every one of us, we're a part of all it is. And I like this concept that he has here. To be successful with Ho'oponopono, it's important to take the following steps. Do you remember this? Number one, to join with the original source, the being of light, and the ancestors. God, in other words, or Akua, as the Hawaiians call divine spirit. Two, to contemplate and accept the problem. Three, to take on 100% responsibility for the existence of the problem in your life. That's the one that I think really has helped me a lot. Four, to be ready following forgiveness to handle things differently. Five, to mutually pardon and forgive. And six, to give thanks and offer the closing prayer. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So I would like to jump into the next chapter, the power of forgiveness. And I think this is pretty cool because one of the things that one of our motto is changing the world one tea touch at a time. And the question is, how do we do this? And for me, the very concept that every thought, every feeling, every emotion, and every belief I have makes a difference. So this very next statement, destructive thoughts about past events improve nearly neither the world nor our life in it. Quite the opposite. The smoldering fires of old disappointments, of annoyances and rage, or a toxic mental cocktail composed of jealousy and resentment only make the heart heavier and gloomier. We tend to turn away from people who have the smell of sarcasm about them. And this is where I think Ho'oponopono is really, really helpful in terms of getting rid of those destructive thoughts. I love the story of the monks. Do you remember when the one monk carried the woman across and the other across the river, and the other one was really upset and kept bugging him about it, and he said something like, "Oh, here it is. What is it, my friend? You look annoyed," said the one monk who had carried the woman, and and the other snapped, "Oh, you fool! How could you have any contact with a woman? We are monks, and I've withdrawn from the world." To which the other replied, "It's true. I've carried the woman across the river, but from what I hear, it seems to me that you're still carrying her." And the thing is how, our tendency to carry the thoughts, destructive thoughts, to carry concepts that aren't useful to us. I find this is a really helpful way to get rid of it. That I can practice that with the heart hug that we started with. Yeah. Because that brings me out of the limbic system emotional spot to our ability, with the forebrain to actually make choices. And that's what I think Ho'oponopono does. It helps us to make choices.
Wow. Wow. Hold on. I need to resonate. I need to resonate on that one.
She needs a minute.
Wait, we can't have dead air time. Is that
We can have thinking time. But I want to jump to this next one, a big other line that I had, which is forgiveness releases us. It frees us from a burden that either we cannot carry or do not want to carry. Who would want to live their life with a big backpack on their shoulders full of problems, old conflicts, and fears? Forgiveness heals and makes life easier. After all, forgiveness is a gift that we give to ourselves. In Hawaii, after the forgiving, the matter is settled and no one busies themselves with it any longer. And Dr. Martin Luther King. Do you remember this one? Forgiveness is not a one-time thing. Forgiveness is a lifestyle. I really love that. And jumping over to the next, I underline in all these different colors. And I just, this is where I said, what? The world seems to resemble a great mirror, for it reflects whatever it is we feel deep in our hearts. When we feel sympathy, we increase the happiness of the world. And that's when I said, whoa, nah. How did that word get in there? Because when we feel empathy, is my feeling, we certainly increase the happiness of the world. And when we think negative thoughts, we increase the pain.
And take out the light.
And take out the light. And that's where, this thing of forgiving myself when I, every once in a while, want to turn on the news and see what's going on, because I do want to get a sense of the world, but man, I don't want to stay there, because that's not helpful to me, to my nervous system, my immune system, or to the world.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have any thoughts in your life, any ways that you use Ho'oponopono?
Wow, I'd love to open it up to the group and hear. I wonder if I can.
Concepts.
Yeah.
Eva, do I see you? I see you sitting right there.
Okay. Does anyone who read it or didn't read it? Wait, at least one. Oh, where are you? There we go. Let me unmute you. Go.
Nice.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going through a really high conflict divorce, and my eldest son has been very, very angry at me, and so I went into counseling with him, and I used the 4 sentences, and the counselor, I mean, my son didn't say a whole lot, but the counselor thought it went really, really, really well. So the counselor said at the end it went much, much better than he expected. We got much, much farther than he expected. And it was just I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. And thank you. And my son has been so angry that he'll hardly speak to me. But at the end, he basically said he didn't really want to look at me, because if he looked at me, his heart would melt. So I'll let you know next time we have and it made me, because as a parent, you go in, you think of, what could you have done differently? What could you have done better? How could you have been more compassionate? How could you have been more empathetic? How could you, you question yourself a million trillion different ways. How could you have been a better mom? How could you have helped him? And so when you say ask for forgiveness and let it go, you don't have that guilt anymore, so you don't have to be defensive about it. And then the heart coherence stuff works. And in the book, it also talks, doesn't it talk in the book, or were you talking, Linda, about how the electromagnetic field of your heart reaches 8 meters?
Yeah, it's one of the heart math.
Yeah, so when you get into that heart coherence, like with the 4 sentences, you can feel it in the room. You don't have to touch him, and you don't have to touch the counselor, because everybody can pick up the vibe, and you can't fake the vibe.
That's a really good one. It's a really nice. Thank you for sharing that, Lisa. And blessings. You know that we're with you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Ms. Elinor?
Oops, hold on. I meant to. Oops, wait. I took her off. I didn't mean to. Wait.
I'm still here.
Where are you? Did I take you off?
You didn't mute me. You just took my picture off.
Let me fix that. Mute audio.
It's okay.
Oh my goodness. I apologize.
Well, and Linda, the other thing while she's trying to unmute me that I wanted to say is, the really interesting thing is how it, it talks about everything's connected, and you've met everyone. That things connect in a plane of quantum physics beyond space and time. And what that made me think of is when I first met Linda, my parents were going through a very high conflict divorce. And sometimes you kind of think, maybe there's something I'm supposed to learn in this conflict, which the book talks about as well, as looking at the conflict as a grateful thing, being thankful for it, because you finally have a chance to learn something that you didn't learn before.
And I love that piece. That was a next in a couple of chapters beyond, I believe. And I love that piece. And I wonder if it's something that would be really lovely to share maybe at some point, all the things that we learn. I know for me, what I've learned through some really difficult situations is how to deal with compassion and jealousy. And, that's a whole other story that I think I will tell one of these days, because I think it's helpful for us to share our difficult times and know that we came through it. Yeah, we do. And, I was going to share this because one night I was sitting in my kitchen at midnight boo-hooing and really crying because my husband was sleeping with another woman. And I thought, it's so interesting now. I thought again, I need help. It's amazing. I just realized this. And so I went to our library. I reached up and I put my hands on The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. And I just opened the book like this, and I opened it to the chapter on sorrow and joy. And I read, "The self-same well from which your sorrows flow shall also flow your joy." And when I read that, I thought, yes, come on, tears, because someday this well will be so deep. And that was 1964. And I have a very deep well, thanks to that book. And thanks to Khalil Gibran. And this is the book, The Prophet. And if you don't know that book, it's a book that belongs on everybody's shelf.
You see what I mean when you listen to them talk? You see what I mean? We won't even get to the middle of this book.
It's a book I hope you all, as I do, I keep going over and over it. That's why I love my iPad, because I keep going over it. I haven't even, I've never read this book all the way to the end. I don't know what's there. Someday I'll do another one of these and get the second half, right? But I'd love to know if somebody has something from farther along the book that you didn't even get close to that you would like to bring up that was useful to you.
If no one raises a hand, I will. Okay. So on page 43, everything is a vibration.
That was really cool.
Right? So in the beginning was the word, the logos, the sound, the syllable, Om, and the original chord. Everything vibrates. In this universe, there is no standing still. Everything oscillates, pulsates rhythmically, circles, and moves in cycles. Everything flows, as the ancient Greeks used to say, at every moment. Several thousand microchemical processes take place in each cell of your body. Linda?
For those of you who aren't into T-Touch, the reason she's going on like that is because we're really into cells and cell intelligence and the brilliance, the wisdom of our cells that makes these 50 trillion cells, as Bruce Lipton gives the number, in the average person, this absolutely stunning ability to communicate and to cooperate. And that is a miracle. We are walking miracles, all of us.
Which might be the next book, but well, yeah. So listen, even following that, they said sound makes mood. We often speak of good vibrations or bad atmosphere or bad vibes. We have an antenna for that sort of thing. And when we enter a space, we know in our hearts where the music plays. When you think of gongs and you think of the singing bowls and you think about even when you say something and you go, that in itself gives me pause. It helps me transition into another part of my brain thinking what you were just saying. And it's our cells. There is a sound. What is it that they're even now measuring the sun, with the sounds and outer space, the sounds, that everything has a sound because everything oscillates. Everything has a vibration. And isn't that going to that we're asking for forgiveness and we're saying, I love you, and putting me, I can never remember 4 phrases together, but putting it together and asking for forgiveness. And what is that vibration that makes? And the page just before, he's bringing in Heart Math Institute. I know.
I think we need to do another week, another hour on this book. It would be like
we could do an overnighter,
Yeah, I like that.
Okay,
that would be a first.
We could, it would be a girls' night. So I'm looking at, hold on, Christine. So I forgot to introduce Christine. Alan is here from Australia. Christine, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, no, I haven't got the book. I was invited to come to the book club a few weeks ago and I couldn't.
Here.
And so now I'm finally here. Yep. And part of the reason I wasn't there was I was visiting my mum in Calgary, and it turns out she's dying, and at the moment she's gone from being a person who's so incredibly positive all the time to somebody who's given up and everything's too much trouble and everything's horrible and awful and terrible, and that's scary for me. And I think, the book will be really good for me. I'm familiar with the Ho'oponopono from my water work. I'm a Watsu practitioner, and we've done water prayers for years. And so I'm familiar with it. But I hadn't thought to apply it to my mum and also to teach her. The big problem now is that she's not interested in learning anything new. She's just closed herself off. She's been given a diagnosis of lymphoplasmatic lymphoma, which means her bone marrow is not producing the red and white blood cells that she needs. And she says to me, the doctors say I have a problem with my blood. I don't have a problem with my blood. I have a heart problem and maybe a stomach problem, but I don't have a blood problem. And basically it's fear. Cancer is terrifying. And so she's sticking with what she's very familiar with. And Elinor recommended while I was there that I do heart hugs with her, and heart hugs directly weren't possible. It's just not the right atmosphere, not the right time. She didn't want to be crossed over. So I did them from the next room and that helped. And then she was in hospital the last few days that I was there, and the heart hugs helped. So the heart hugs are great. I will be applying the Ho'oponopono for me to her, but I'm also the next time I Skype with her, I'm going to broach the subject, and hopefully she'll be able to find her joy again, because at the moment her life has no joy in it, and she needs that joy.
You know, one of the things that when you first started talking about that is it's a basic concept of the Course in Miracles that aggression comes from a place of fear and is a cry for help, and a person who going from a place of joy to this negative attitude, it's where the fear takes over, and it's so. I wonder if you could talk to her about her fear. Has she actually been able to verbalize how she's?
No. I'm well aware there's huge amounts of fear there, but at the moment she's just, everything's frustrating. It's she everything's too much trouble, too frustrating. Lisa, the person in Australia, to understand the therapist, and then it cut off. I just got a little note from Lisa. Thank you. Yeah, she needs to be able to acknowledge that she's afraid, and she's not at that point yet.
And she may not be able to. I mean, that is certainly a possibility. And having the Ho'oponopono to help you and indirectly to help her through, and the heart hugs, and knowing that once you're with her, doing the heart hug and just holding that concept that she can feel you, because that's one of the beauties of quantum science, is we know that there's no separation. You can be as though you're with her, and
I've been doing heart hugs from here. You know, whether it was the next room or from here, it's immaterial.
Right. And of course, ask permission. I mean, sometimes it's too much to, even from a distance, to do heart hugs on her, but you can ask permission.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean verbal permission.
Yeah.
Permission of her higher self, and see.
Yeah. I did do that. I was always aware that, you know, I needed to let her higher self know that that's what I was doing, and I'm doing it with love and concern. So yeah, that's there. Anyway,
so,
yeah.
Elinor, you were going to.
Oh, wait, hold on, Sally. Yes, Sally.
I want to say something to the person that was just talking and to the group. I've worked with Bernie Siegel. He's a famous cancer doctor. And he thinks that a lot of times people are angry at their body for getting cancer. And so one of the important things he asks people to do is to forgive themselves for, you know, eating the wrong thing, smoking, whatever it is that led to your situation. Maybe it's something you don't even know, but that it's really critical to use like the Ho'opono idea to forgive your body for not doing what you thought it was going to do. And that might be something her mom can use to help overcome the fear.
I think Christine was saying that her mom wasn't interested in it yet, but what Linda is saying, from what I've experienced when Linda's teaching, is that we can do it for that person from that distance, and little by little, they start to make a shift. Something starts to shift for them in our intention, and it goes there. And then eventually, then maybe her mother will give herself, when Christine walks out of the room, and maybe once in the room, you know, just for her own self.
Well, and just as you were reading that section about resonance and vibration and like attracting like, that's the same idea, that if she does it for herself, it will help her mother, even if she doesn't do it for her mother directly.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
So Elinor, I'm wondering, we're at the hour, but I'm wondering if there's anyone else who would like to share before we close.
Okay. Linda, this was beautiful. This was amazing. This was incredible. I hope that all of you keep the book by your bedstand, or keep the book in your favorite place where you open it, and it's so easy to just read a small section of it. And
why don't you, since you have the book in your hand, just open it to someplace, because I can't do that with my iPad, someplace, and just see what.
Everything is connected to everything else. That's a Linda saying.
I love it. I love it. What page is it on?
That is on page 41, and I just opened it.
Perfect.
So we have an upcoming, should we give the information for the upcoming?
Right.
So our next date is, we're in November, hold on. Saturday, December 19th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That means 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then you can figure that out for anywhere you are around the world and in the country. So we're trying to make it, Linda's trying to make it so that, one time it's a Saturday, so that people who aren't working or on a Saturday, or that it's early in the morning so people in Europe can attend it.
It's 8 p.m. in Europe.
Yeah, that's so perfect. Right now it's like 4 a.m.
Right. Right.
So, and as we've done in the past, the book is, thank you. Let's get the book ahead of time. The book is The Honeymoon Effect.
Great.
So how many of you, let's raise your hands, how many of you have read it already?
Parts.
Yeah, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So who's it by?
Bruce Lipton.
Yay!
Just a guy.
Just a guy.
Smarty pants.
Let's see. Oh, Lisa is saying, Linda and Elinor and everyone, I want to thank you. I can feel the joy in your hearts naturally as if you were here. Oh, thank you so much. God bless you. You do know that Linda did a talk in, was it May in Austria?
May last Vienna. Mm-hmm.
Oh, in Vienna, with Bruce and you. Linda, can they go to your website to get that video? Or are we going to put it on Vimeo?
Amazon.
On Amazon. Okay.
I don't have it on Vimeo. I haven't seen if they want to do it yet. It's only been out less than a year. So, but you do have it on Amazon. And actually, a friend from Germany had just ordered it and was watching it tonight. So
if they go to Amazon, do they type in your name and Bruce Lipton's name?
Yes, and it's called, what is it called? Biology Touch. I don't have my computer open, but actually, if they put in my name and Bruce Lipton, it'll bring it up.
Okay.
It's a DVD that has both of them.
That's excellent. Wonderful, because it's very worthwhile. Everyone who attended said it was absolutely eye-opening, and
it was great. We had about 350 people from 15 countries.
Yeah, people from everybody, from the United States flew out there for it. Let's see. I am going to take this. I have to put it into a little MP4 program, and then I'm going to upload it to YouTube, and hopefully I will be able to get that up tonight and get that up.
Amazing, girl.
If I don't do it right away. And hopefully I'll get the email out with the link to all of you if it goes up to YouTube easily. And because I'm not going to make any changes to it, and we'll just get it up directly for you. And yay! So, Linda, thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Ms. Elinor, and everybody for being here.
Can we end with the heart hug?
Oh, let's do that. Yeah. And let's just do a few, and with each heart hug, count one blessing in our life. And let's send this with the next heart hug. Send our gratitude for this Ulrich Dupre and this beautiful Ho'oponopono and this concept that each one of us does make a difference every time we say those 4 words. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you.
God bless you, Linda.
And you all.
All of you.
Come in, Miss Pam. Here's Miss Pam.
Bye, Pam. Thank you.
Aloha.
Aloha.